Ys 8 Lacrimosa of Dana has finally come to Nintendo Switch, and honestly it is probably where it deserved to be or should have been the whole time. And thankfully the Switch is out now and it's come to it, and it is such an incredible fun role-playing game that takes some of the best aspects of JRPGs and then sort of modernizes it to feel like a true modern JRPG. In Ys 8 you play as Adol, who starts the game on a ship called the Lombardia, which crashes at this island that is known for being dangerous and no one ever getting off it alive. You then come across other characters that have also been shipwrecked, and you together build a campsite, and from there you build up the campsite while also building your crew, and that works as probably the best excuse for you to just freely explore the world. And that's what you'll spend a lot of your time doing in Ys 8, is exploring the island, finding new crewmates, building up your campsite and unlocking new areas. Some areas are blocked off throughout the game and they require a certain crew number. Once you hit that crew number you can then go over to it, interact with it, and you unlock new areas of the island. And it's sort of simple, but it keeps things feeling fun and fresh just to explore. It doesn't throw too much story at you, and it just lets you get into it. And Ys 8 is a very action heavy role playing game. There are no battle sort of scenes that you jump into. It's not turn based, everything is real time, and everything is also level based. So you will explore the island, you will come across, you can go a lot of places sometimes when you're a little bit under leveled, but a lot of times the higher level stuff is behind those sort of barriers that you need a certain crew number to get there. But you spend a lot of your time exploring the island, and the combat itself is relatively simple. You have one button to attack, you have one button to jump. You can then hold a button and use the face buttons to do special skills. You can dodge, and you can use a thing called a flash guard, or if you dodge right you will slow down time and give yourself a chance to sort of unleash some damage on an enemy. Now each enemy type will have weaknesses, and then you can have a crew of 3 people with you at any one point, which you can freely switch between through combat. So if you have someone who's got a good piercing skill and the enemies are vulnerable to piercing, you can either let that person, you can put them on offense or defense. They will then freely do whatever they want based on your sort of commands, but you can switch to them, jump over, and then take out the enemies like that. It's fun, it's smooth, it's fluid, and honestly it's incredibly satisfying. On Nintendo Switch this just feels perfect for it. The gameplay is so well, art style is stunning. I think it's a beautiful looking game. It works really well on the Nintendo Switch screen. I played a lot of it on handheld mode. Docked it looks better obviously, but also on top of the combat it does a great job of throwing new things at you. So I said you spend a lot of your time exploring, but you won't do just that. You can go fishing, there are some wave based things you got to do to protect your campsite, and there's so much more. Visually, like I said, art style is really good. On Nintendo Switch though, the resolution can change quite drastically, and I've noticed this a lot, especially when you swing the camera around to look at something that may have a lot of detail behind you or a lot going on behind you, like trees and enemies and mountains. You can see the resolution drop quite drastically, and honestly that's the game's biggest down point, is that it can sometimes go from being a decent looking game to a maybe ugly game because of how low the resolution gets. But still, it still doesn't completely take away the enjoyment of the game. It just is noticeable. The story itself is fine. It doesn't throw too much at you. It gives you enough to sort of keep you pushing along. You meet a load of different characters with different personalities. They all feel very cliche and stereotypes. So you have the stuck up Carmen with his little twiddly mustache that won't lift a finger because how dare you ask him to do anything. You have Dogi, who's this strong, shown his abs type guy who's dumb as a doornail, and you have the preppy upbeat girl. You have, you know, if you've played JRPGs, you kind of know the types of characters you're gonna come across. But Ys 8, Lacrimosa of Dana is one of the best JRPGs I've played. I don't know if it came across in my talking about it. A lot of it, funnily enough, when I'm thinking about it, is sort of common nature to go, yeah, it's great, you definitely play it. I think some of the best things is just how enjoyable it is to run around the world, to explore. It's not open world, like there's instance maps, but they're relatively big and interconnected. You can kind of get lost a little bit, especially when you're looking at the overworld map. It being kind of tough to know where you're going, but you can use the compass because it has a north, south, east, west, and you can just sort of, you know, use your orienteering skills to get around. But I really put a lot of time into this very quickly because I found it very, very hard to put down. With Nintendo Switch sort of lacking in terms of very, very high quality JRPGs until something like maybe Octopath Traveler comes out, but we still don't know how good that will be. I think Ys Lacrimosa of Dana is probably easily the best, if not one of the best JRPGs on Nintendo Switch, and I fully recommend people who like JRPGs or fast-paced action games with a bit of story and exploration to definitely give it a go.